Yeah,
so crossed, we managed to work it out, Reece. So thank you very much for obviously your patience there, Reece. So guys, we're live, and I'm super excited to be with Ruth Davis. So Reece, I'm reading out a bit here, Reece, because it's the first time I've sort of done it on this system. So first of all, Reece, I want to say a massive welcome to Just4keepers, obviously our podcast, but also live as well across all our media. First, I want to say a massive thank you for coming onto the show. Just obviously as I went live, I was explaining about this is really going to help the next generation of young goalkeepers coming through. As I say, also as well, even the older goalkeepers, I'm sure they'll take a lot out of this, and especially mums and dads of goalkeepers as well. So first of all, I want to say again on behalf of myself, J4K, Just4keepers, etc., a massive thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to obviously to speak to ourselves and help obviously the young and old, and the old goalkeepers. So just a bit about yourself, obviously. So you're currently playing for Boston United in the National League North. You've just signed for them, which is fantastic, 3 weeks ago. And if I'm right, the home stadium is in Boston, Lincolnshire.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Okay, brilliant, fantastic. So if you don't mind, please, Reece, if you can just tell our viewers and our listeners just a bit more about yourself, so we can just introduce yourself. Obviously, you know, where you were born, your current age, and the football clubs that you've played for. That'd be fantastic, please.
Yeah, so my name's Ruth Davis. 22 years old. I was born in Cardiff in Wales. Probably tell by the strong accent. Started off playing for my local team, Ely Rangers. I was actually a striker to start with. Until my friend went on holiday. My dad was a goalkeeper. He played professional when he was younger and stuff. So I decided to go in goal. About 3 weeks later, Cardiff City had a massive tournament. I think there's something like 50, 60 kids teams there. And selected 20 out of all the teams. I got selected to go to the development squad. And then I spent the last, 9 years then. I'm from there, Cardiff City. I was there from under 7s to under 16s, I think it was. I then left, went to Newport County, got a scholarship, was there for 3 years, then signed for Leicester City. I was there for 3 years.
Just to interrupt you there, sorry, when you were at Newport, something that you mentioned as well, that you were with one of the nicest guys I've ever met, James Bickner.
Yeah.
James Bickner, obviously, and also the goalkeeper Joe Day. At one time, we used to sponsor them, obviously for the J4K clubs, and you said that they take you under the wing and look after you when you were at Newport County. I hope they did.
Yeah. So my first season at Newport, I think it was like under 15s, 16s, and then I ended up tearing my ACL playing in the FAW Youth Cup.
Yes. Yep.
The Youth Cup, but it's the Welsh version. It's a bit weird. We're playing, done my ACL. I was out for about 13 months, I think it was. I was out for quite a while. And then the season I came back in is when Bits came in. And Joe helped me out massively. I knew Joe for like a few years before that anyway. But yeah, they both helped me out massively. They'd get me into training with them and stuff, like in with the first team. They pushed me into like play with the first team as well. So you had like what's called a regional league. So I was like the first team players who weren't getting much game time and some youngsters and stuff. And they pushed me into playing that. I'd play in all their friendlies and stuff as well. So they pushed me quite a lot. And I would say that Newport and my time with Bits and Joe and the 3 years at Newport is, my dad calls it starting the canvas.
Okay, yes, makes sense.
Yeah, he calls it starting the canvas. So he said that Newport is what kind of helped build me. He don't really talk about Cardiff and stuff too much, but Newport, we always say Newport is what built me. It's what got my first like men's football and proper serious football.
So and obviously that's down to like the coaches and the players that also put time out of their lives to mentor you and help you as well. Reece, brilliant.
Yeah, because we also had my academy coach at the time. We had Byron Anthony, who is now Rovers, I think it is, and Michael Flynn.
Okay, Michael Flynn. Okay,
the manager, I think he is. But yeah, he was my academy coach at the time, and then obviously first team, he kind of brought me along with him a little bit as well. So I went straight in with them. But
Okay.
I'd go to the regional games and I'd help out with the first team and stuff quite a bit.
Brilliant. But that just that experience of just being alongside the first team players,
Yeah,
and also as well, obviously that must have given you a lot of confidence because obviously it's as to become professional like yourself, Reece, it's not obviously it's super important to perform on the field, but it's also being comfortable in front with all the players as well, isn't it?
yeah,
So at such a such a young age, being involved with the first team like that must have really helped you.
yeah. It was a bit scary at first because I'd never played with like older people and stuff like that. So I went in and I was the baby of the group. I'd be cleaning boots daily. I'd be making people cups of tea and stuff, which is what you do if
Yeah.
you're a scholar. That's what you have to do. You have to tidy up. You have to get all the professional side of you. Uh,
Yes.
but yeah, they were all a really good bunch of lads. I still talk to some of the Newport players now. I'm actually one of the Newport players actually signed for Boston with me as well.
Oh,
Yeah, so
brilliant.
he's now at Boston as well. And he was at with me.
And did you come from? Did you sign from Newport to Boston? Did you, or did you go somewhere else?
So I went from Newport to Leicester.
Okay.
Yeah, I signed 2017. I signed for Leicester. A bit of a freak moment. It was quite out of the blue to start with. Yeah, we played in the Merit League with Newport, and we were favourites to like not win any games whatsoever. But the group of lads we had in the under-18s, we were all like best mates. Like there was no pressure on us whatsoever. We were just basically having a laugh, but also being serious.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
So what happens is you play one league, and then the top five go into the Merit League 1, the bottom five go into the League 2, and
Okay.
then the league then. So
Brilliant.
we fifth or fourth, I think it was, in the first league, and then
Okay.
Merit League 1. First time any Newport Academy team has ever gone to Merit League 1.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, and then you had, I think it was 12 games after that. Then you just play every once, and we won unbeaten.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so I think we won 11 games and drew one.
And that and that's something special as well because it's like when you're doing it with teammates that you've got like a really good bond with.
Yeah.
That makes it all special. I mean, when I was at YTS at Chester City, we had an amazing bond as a team. It was amazing. I mean, we never won anything, to be honest with you. But just for me, one of the happy memories I've got when I look back at my career was like being at YTS at Chester City, and it just wasn't necessarily about the playing. It was about the camaraderie between all the players. So I fully understand what you're saying there, Reece. That makes it more. But again, if you're winning, it makes it more special, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Because it didn't feel like we were playing competitive sometimes. It just felt like you were having a kick around with your mates and stuff. And then a few games, if like you're having a bit of a stinker or something, then it gets like serious. But
Brilliant.
because we were all such a good close group, it worked. And
Right.
I don't think Newport have done anything since then because we were such a close-knit group.
Yes.
We also had Byron and Danny, who were two amazing coaches, and we had Mikey as well, goalkeeper coach. They were part of the friendship group as well. They weren't.
Yeah.
They,
No, it helps 100%. And who was your goalkeeping coach when you got to Leicester City?
oh God, we had Mike Stowley.
Okay, Mike. Oh yeah, ex-Everton goalkeeper. Yeah.
Stowley, Glyn Thompson as
Okay.
well. Played for
Brilliant.
Newport as well. He's played quite a few professional games. Adam Skinner. I actually met Adam the other day. He's now the Nottingham Forest 23s goalkeeper coach.
Okay, brilliant.
On to there now. Who else do we have? I think that was it actually.
Fantastic. No, it's obviously it sounds like you obviously especially Mike Stoll. I actually trained with Mike. He probably won't remember me. I'd have only been 15 at the time, and I got invited to Everton as a 15-year-old, and
Nice.
he was there, and with the other goalkeepers, Neville Southall was there, and Peter, I think it was Gordon Banks or Peter Benetti. I can't remember who was the goalkeeping coach now, but he was there. But yeah, I was only a 15-year-old. He wouldn't have remembered me, to be honest. Yeah, he might do, you never know. But you're saying that you had a great. So obviously you're at Boston United now, and you say you had a great result last week. Did you say, or was it this week?
Yeah, so we played 4 games now, I think it is. We played against Corby, Gainsborough, Nottingham Forest, and Notts County. So Corby, we beat them 3-0. Gainsborough, we won 3-2. Nottingham Forest, we drew 0-0. Had a really good game then as well.
Brilliant. Clean sheets, always good. Yeah.
Notts County, on Wednesday, we drew 1-1. But I only played the second half, so I kept a clean sheet in that as well. But because we just signed a new goalkeeper on loan as well from Lincoln. He played the first half, I played the second.
Yeah. That's part and parcel, isn't it? Obviously, it's like as a goalkeeper, you do tend to play just the half games, and then you're always wondering, aren't you? Then as well, am I going to be the first team goalkeeper when the season starts? And you always you think a bit too much into it. You think like, if the goalkeeper is playing the first half, sometimes you think, oh, if he's playing the first half, that's what the gaffer's going to choose when you go into the new season, but. That very rarely happens, doesn't it? All you got to do is just play each game as it comes, play your best, and as I say, hope you've done enough for when the season starts. That you're the number one.
Yeah, well, it was in those situations. If you are just playing the second half, you just got to try not to overthink it.
Yes.
To play your own game and stuff. I'm terrible for overthinking and stuff like that. I'm absolutely terrible. Yeah. And then on the phone saying, "Oh, just calm down. It's not that," and I'm just like, "Okay, relax."
Yes,
it's nothing to do with that.
Well, what you've said there is absolutely spot on, James. Because again, I'll go back to when I played. I was terrible like that as well. But when I played many years ago, there was not the where now a lot. I'm not too sure what it's like at Boston, but we've got like a lot of sports. I don't know if it's the right word and use them, but sports scientists where obviously. They speak about the confidence in the mind, etc. And we never had anything like that. And that's one of the things that we're really big on in Just for Keepers.
Yeah.
Just trying to make sure that we help our young goalkeepers obviously have a strong mindset. Because again, you know this yourself, Reece. Confidence is everything about a goalkeeper. You could be the best technical goalkeeper in the world, but if your confidence is shot to pieces, that's going to affect your game, isn't it? So. Yeah. So it's great to hear, even though that you're obviously you're a young goalkeeper. It's great to hear that you understand not to overthink it. Because when I was 28, 29 years of age playing professionally, I never had that mindset because we just simply weren't taught it. So it's brilliant that obviously that you can obviously you're thinking outside. Sorry, you're not beating yourself up, which obviously is important.
Up is when you'll start seeing performances get a dip, your confidence takes another dip, and before you know it, you're in a bit of a rut. So you've got to keep that mental stability. And goalkeeping is mainly mental anyway. You have 89 minutes where you don't do anything whatsoever, and then in the 90th minute, you've got to pull off a game-winning save. It's all mental. And we always say the loneliest position on the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, I also call it a character builder position because it builds your character pretty fast.
Yeah.
So when does your season start then? Is it in August? Will it be August? Will it? I'm a bit out of touch.
Yeah, August 6th. We got Southport at home.
Okay, Southport. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's. I think that's a team that's actually a team that was quite. When I originally from Liverpool, Southport is a local team. To ourselves, and they get quite a big following, don't they? I think they get like 2,000-3,000 people follow them.
Yeah, when we went there last season with Kettering, I think it was a sellout. They had quite a few people there. It's a nice ground as well. I played there before I even played National League because Everton under 23s play there as well.
Okay.
So the Southport's ground even when I was at Leicester and stuff like that. So I've been there quite a few times, and there's always big crowds and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember I was can't remember now. I think I was the goalkeeping coach. I forgot the name of the team now, and we actually played at Southport, and I was like shocked how good the stadium was, and it was full, So I think it was Altrincham was the goalkeeping coach many years ago now. My memory fails me. But before I go on to the next section, and I'm just going to ask you some questions about going back to your childhood, even though that you're still only a young pup, Reece. Something that you mentioned about like the FA Cup for Wales, obviously the Welsh FA Cup. Yeah. That's, as I say, that's something that a lot of people don't realise goes on. And I actually, again, I don't want to be bringing myself into this, but one of the best teams, one of the most favourite times I played as a professional footballer. I actually played for Newtown, where when they weren't in the Welsh League at the time. They were in the HFS Loans League, which was an English league, because they were one of the top teams at the time. And I actually experienced playing in the Welsh FA Cup. And again, it's amazing. It's amazing. So for the guys listening, and you think you might not have heard of like the Welsh FA Cup, it's super exciting. And
it's basically the FA Youth Cup, which is massive in England, but it's just Welsh teams. So all the Welsh teams will play in the FA Youth Cup anyway, until a certain level. But when you play the FAW Youth Cup, so the Welsh one, it allows lower teams to come into it as well.
Okay.
So wouldn't get the chance to go into the FA Youth Cup, they can play in the FAW Youth Cup. So it helps bring in a lot more like lower league teams, helps them bring in money, play against big teams and stuff. It is good. It is very good. I think some people don't take it too serious, even though it's quite good. It's similar to the FA Youth Cup. Obviously, the FA Youth Cup, you get like Liverpool smashing it every year, or Chelsea and Man City. But I think Swansea is the one that dominates most when it comes to the FAW Youth Cup. We got to the finals one year with Newport, and we lost to Swansea in that one.
Okay, yeah. But it's brilliant. It's good. It's, as I say, from someone who's personally experienced the obviously playing in the FA Welsh Cup, I'm going back many years ago, so I'm sure I was only probably 18, so over 30 years ago now. So it's probably just, obviously, I'm guessing it has changed quite a lot. But I'm just going to take you back to your childhood, if that's okay, Reece. So first of all, you've sort of already answered this anyway, but I'll let you answer it again, just in case any listeners have just come in. So going back to when you were a youngster, what actually drew you to playing goal? Was it by choice, or did like outside circumstances put you in goal? But you more or less sort of touched on it in your introduction, but if you can say it again, please.
It's got a few parts to it. We were playing, I think we had a game on the Saturday or something. Obviously, when you're a kid, you play 3 games in one day, don't you? In like the little pitches and stuff. And I can't remember if my mate got injured or on holiday, but he just wasn't there. So I was the tallest person on the pitch and stuff. And
not the way.
Yeah, they were all a goalkeeper. So and my dad's ex-professional goalkeeper and stuff as well. He still plays now for Wales veterans.
Okay, cool. If you don't mind me asking, sorry, I should know this. What's your dad's name? I do apologise.
Ian Davis.
Right, okay. So I didn't realise. I do apologise, Reece. What was it? You kept that quiet. So obviously you got an amazing mentor then with your dad, DME. Wow.
Yeah, a bit pushy sometimes, but it's what you need. But that's what all parents do and stuff. When I was younger, he's the one that it's like, oh right, you go and goal and stuff like that. He'd take me to all my training sessions, and I didn't notice it until I started having to do my own traveling and stuff. Just how much your parents do sort you out the traveling, paying for your boots, your I know some clubs now you have when you're younger, you have to pay to play. You have to pay, memberships and stuff, registration and stuff like that. I didn't until I was 15, 16, and my parents we had to pay this much every year, and I was like, oh god.
Yeah, I mean, sadly, I mean, the UK is getting like the United States now. I hope it doesn't go too far, because in the United States, it's super expensive to play. I mean, some clubs will charge $3,000 per year just for membership, and you've got to buy kits and everything. I mean, it's it is. And don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I understand why clubs have got to charge now, because unfortunately, the greedy powers that be, the government, the councils, etc., they're making venues, 40, 50, 60, 70 pounds an hour in some counties, which is ridiculous, but the greedy powers that be have got the little grubby hands on venues now and putting the prices up, and the only option people have got is obviously to is to charge the kids, but going back, I'm so glad what you said about your dad, Reece, because honestly, I know you said he's a bit pushy, which is great, but and you probably heard people say this to yourself, and I can again speak personally about this. It's not until you get much older that you realise, wow, okay, what you're paying. It's good that you can see it now. I was a bit older, But it's good that you've recognised what your dad's done for you. But as you get older, you'll realise more and more. You go, oh wow, it's like, you wouldn't, obviously, I'm not saying that you wouldn't have got there where you are now, but obviously, I'm guessing your dad's give you the shortcut, to success by.
Yeah. Like after school and stuff like that, he'd be like, right, boots on, gloves on, over the park. And then if I'd have football or something like that, he'd pick me up from school and go straight to football.
Right.
I know some parents, they'll, even when it's pouring rain, they go in the car and they wait for them to finish their session. My dad would be stood there watching the sessions.
Oh.
My brother actually used to come as well. He plays football, just for like parks football, but my dad's starting to push him a little bit now because I've got 4 brothers. I've got 1 older, 3 younger. We're quite a sporty family. So everyone my dad tries to push. My dad's 47 now, I think he's 47 now. And he still goes over the park and he'll kick the ball around like he's a 20-year-old trying to cut stuff.
He's not lost that competitive spirit, Damon. Absolutely love it. Brilliant.
70 in a retirement home, still trying to beat us on stuff.
Yeah, he'll be trying to meg what all the other inmates. What was it? So one of the things, well, when you first started playing in goal, was it difficult for yourself, and was you a natural? And also when you made a mistake as a youngster, how did you cope? And again, I'm guessing obviously your dad would have been really instrumental here.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure the first game we lost like 13-0.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, I think I remember correctly years ago now, but if I remember,
welcome to goalkeeping.
I lost like 13-0, and I went back and I was like, "Oh, I'm never going in goal again." I think I ran up to my room, cried my eyes out, and I was like, "Yeah, don't put me in goal again." But my dad always has a saying that whenever you concede a goal, think of it as 0-0. Always 0-0. He said, "Don't worry about the goal. Focus on the next one. Think of it as 0-0." And he goes in, it's 0-0. And then if another one goes in, it's 0-0. You just got to keep working on it.
Yeah.
My dad's had some inspirational quotes and stuff that I'm pretty sure I've got a book for.
Honestly, that one tip, I just want to stop you there. Sorry, please, Reece. That one tip for mums and dads who are listening and for goalkeepers who are listening is so important. I mean, and it's really, really, really an amazing tip because unfortunately, a lot of goalkeepers, especially, never mind younger goalkeepers, Reece, even older goalkeepers, when they make a mistake, they fall to pieces because and then they'll go on to make, 2 or 3 mistakes in the game. So they go on from making a simple mistake to having a terrible game because, again, the mindset. But just something as simple but powerful, what your dad was saying to you, right, it's 0-0, fresh start, let's go again. So I just wanted to stop on that because that is an amazing tip for any young and old goalkeeper and for mums and dads.
Well, I used it 2 weeks ago. We played against Gainsborough, and it was my mistake for one of the goals. I tried being like Edison or something. I've come running out. I've taken a touch, not realising the striker's come across. He's tackled me and scored. Okay. And then they were a bit hectic and stuff. And then I think someone went down injured. So I've just gone over to my goal. I've just bent down a little bit. I've gone, right, 0-0. Breathe. And then after that, then it was fine. We won the game out. Pulled off a few saves. But the mentality to be able to say to yourself, right, 0-0, focus on the next one. It's so hard. I know a lot of people, even at my age and a bit older, still don't think about it.
Yeah. And because it's not taught. I mean, and I know a lot of goalkeeping coaches, Reece, hundreds, probably over 1,000 now. And a lot of them, they'll teach goalkeeping coaching, obviously, how to be, technically better for goalkeeping, but they don't stop and teach the children and even the older goalkeepers about the mindset. And just, as I say, something as simple but as powerful as, what your dad taught you, that will give you the edge on so many other goalkeepers your age and older, Reece, and it's something that we try to drum into our students and to our parents and Just for Keepers, that if you do, we call it, what you've done there, we call it like a trigger point. So we do something similar when we teach our students. Like if they make a mistake, rather than dwell on a mistake, a trigger point. They could like slap themselves or tap themselves on, or sometimes goalkeepers will fix the wrist strap. And what that trigger point basically tells them to educate them. This is what your dad taught you. 0-0. Start again. I'm a good goalkeeper. And also we teach goalkeepers as well that So to see how many mistakes that they make per game. So let's say, for example, that they make, I don't know, on average, one mistake every 10 games. And obviously the goal then is to make a mistake every 11 games, 12 games. And as you get older and better, obviously it becomes easier. But again, the good thing about that as well, what we teach our students, and again, it's what your dad taught yourself, is that when one of our goalkeepers makes a mistake, again, they'll do a trigger point, like 0-0, like your dad taught yourself. But then they'll go, okay, right, great, I'm not going to make a mistake now for another 10, 15, 20 games.
Yeah.
So straight away, so rather than being down about it, that it's like, okay, great, fantastic. It's about just sort of slapping your mindset from you just made a mistake to like 0-0, get on with it, And honestly, I wish someone had taught me what your dad taught you. I wish someone taught me that. Don't get me wrong, my dad was amazing. He really helped me, but he was never a professional goalkeeper like your dad. So he pushed me the best way he could. But also as well, the next question as well, which goalkeeper did you idolize? You better watch what you say here. You better say your dad. Which goalkeeper did you idolize as a youngster, and do you still follow this goalkeeper to this day?
So I'm a Liverpool fan. My whole family are Liverpool fans and stuff like that. So the one goalkeeper that my dad made me watch a lot was Bruce Grobbelaar.
Legend, yeah.
That's he was. My dad says that you've got to be absolutely crazy to be a goalkeeper. 100% true. So that's why Grobbelaar, because he didn't care if he got hurt. He didn't care if he made a fool out of himself. He would just go for the ball and do everything he could to keep that ball out the net. My favourite, I think it was the 1986 FA Cup against Everton.
I'm thinking of the save you want to make, but go on.
I'm pretty sure it's the one when the defenders hit it over him, gone back and got it.
Alan Hansen?
Yes. Yeah. I think it was 1986 or 84.
I'm not too sure, but I know the save you made. And can you remember the name of the save that you called it by any chance? I'm going to really stretch your trivia here.
I can't remember that one now.
So I might get it completely wrong, but one of the Bruce's teammates at the time was a guy called what's his name? The Australian Johnson, Craig Johnston. He actually went on to develop the Predator. He was the guy that developed the Predator football boots, Craig.
Okay.
And he was Australian, and he actually called it he actually taught Bruce this. So again, don't know the full story, but he called it like the kangaroo hop or something like that because he was from Australia. And he basically, I just remember because Bruce was my idol as well.
Yeah.
And I used to watch all his videos, and I just remember them talking about that save. So obviously we share the same. But the same guy, I idolized Bruce, and one of the best saves I've ever seen was obviously Bruce with that one as well, which is cool.
Yeah.
What's the best memory you've got as playing in goal as a child?
I'm trying to think now. I think my first ever under-18s football match for Newport County. I think I was 15 years old. One of the goalkeepers that got injured, so they were like, "Reece, you're playing today." We played against Shoalin FC in the FA Youth Cup.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think it was like the 88th minute. It was 0-0. 88th minute, I get a free kick about 18 yards out, and he's put it top bins, and I just plucked it out, and it's gone over. Went to extra time, made a few saves there as well, and then it went to the penalty shootout. And I was talking to my coaches and stuff, and I was bricking it, absolutely bricking it. I was so nervous. All the old, they're like getting psyched out, like to take their penalty, and I'm like, right, I'm 15. The goalkeeper playing against me is like 18, playing for their first team and stuff like that. And I had all their fans behind my goal, like shouting, "You're not going to save anyone." And then the first one went in, saved the second one. Third one, I've tipped it onto the post, but it's gone in. And I'm pretty sure that, the fourth one, then I've saved it. Our team scored, and everyone's just piled on top of me.
Brilliant.
I think the reason it's probably one of my favourite is because I was there, all my mates. I just won us the game. I was still a baby at this point. Like in football, I'm still classed as a baby now.
Yes, very much so. Yeah. What did that do for your confidence, Reece? That game?
Hi. I was on cloud 9 after that. I don't think I conceded a goal for like 3 games after that. I just felt unstoppable.
The momentum took you, and that's the power of being confident as a goalkeeper, isn't it? It just makes you feel like a world beater. No, that's brilliant.
I had a similar story when I was at Leicester as well. We played against Rochdale in the Checker Trade Trophy. So the Premier League under 23s versus like Championship and lower first teams. I was on the bench for the first half, and then the goalkeeper got injured, so I had to come on. Didn't really have much to do with stuff like that until they had a break again. I think it was it went straight to penalties. So I made a save in like the 80-something minute. Broke my nose. Balls just smashed me in the nose. I've had to play the game with the 2 tissues up my nose. Can't.
So sounds like something out of a Rocky film. So you basically took one for the team, then, didn't you? There, Reece, mate, but again, as I say, how did that make you feel with your confidence through the roof?
Yeah, exact same. I was on cloud 9 again for the next week or two. Nice part about that as well is it went to penalties, but the game was live on TV. So I've got
cool.
all my family watching the penalty shootout, and I saved 2 of them.
Brilliant.
So, yeah, I love that. My parents, after every game, my dad would call me. If it's a 2-minute conversation, hour conversation, he'll always call me. He called me this morning as well about the game on Wednesday. He always called me about it. And I remember after this game, my dad never called me. My mum did. And she was screaming down the phone, "Oh, we're so proud of you," and stuff like that, like great saves. My brothers have always kind of been not in like a bully way, but like push you. My brothers,
they wanted the best for you.
So they've always, like you're not that good and stuff like that. When they knew I was and stuff, but it was nice to see my brothers like celebrating me in the video as well.
No, that's super important, that, Reece, because unfortunately, not just in goalkeeping, in life, a lot of people can achieve. There's so many people that could have achieved so many amazing things, and their own loved ones, siblings, parents, etc. They ruined it for them. And most of the part, it's unintentionally. They don't realise. Just like little slight comments like "you're not good enough," etc. That can really, really, destroy somebody's confidence. So to have your brothers, encouraging you and pushing you, that's unusual. That's unusual, and it's obviously fantastic for yourself. Also, ask your dad this question as well, Reece. Okay, ask him how many times has he watched that video of you saving those penalties. I bet you he's watched that over and over and over again.
Pretty sure he's posted it on his Facebook and Instagram about 6 times each. Even in the Nottingham Forest game the other day, I pulled off a really good reaction save to tip it over. And he was like, show me the video of the save and stuff. So I sent it to him within 30 seconds. I'm tagged on Facebook, tagged on Instagram. I've got all that comments on it. But I always call Blue Eyes by my family because they always say I'm my dad's favourite and stuff like that. Because I'm a goalkeeper, I play professional and stuff like that. But my brothers, I don't normally say this to them, but my brothers are all good at their own things. And my dad does post about them as well. It's not just me. So my older brother at rugby, the one below me is good at football. The one below him is really good at rugby as well. And then the youngest one is really, really good at football. So it's good to kind of have like a sporty, competitive family as well. Because let's say when we were younger and stuff, we'd go over the park, we'd be having competitions. And whether it's rugby, football, I used to play baseball as well, we'd have competitions and stuff against each other. So that pushed us all as well to be
brilliant.
Because we've all pushed ourselves.
No, honestly, that's fantastic. And also as well, again, I can understand, your dad as well, because I say I've got 3 children, and you always try your best as a parent to be fair with everyone. And sometimes, you might have one child having all the momentum, like yourself, for example, you're having all the momentum. And sometimes as a parent, it's easy just to go along with all that and then forget you've got your other children. And as I say, and I'm sure your dad, does what most dads will do, is that, he's going along with the momentum, but also making sure that he encourages his other children as well. So again, it sounds like you've got an amazing man, amazing father there, Reece. So I'm going to ask you now about being a pro goalkeeper. So obviously we spoke about your childhood, etc. Obviously, some of the questions since you've basically turned professional, if that's okay, please, Reece. So again, I know that most of the kids, the goalkeepers watching this, they'll be asking, what glove cut do you currently prefer? And what's your thoughts on finger save goalkeeping gloves?
So I'm kind of sampling a pair right now of gloves where they're kind of a hybrid. So they're a mix of flat palm and roll fingers. I do like my roll fingers. They are nice. I don't wear finger saves. I probably should because I break my fingers quite a lot. But you're young, you have to wear them, I say, because you don't want to break your fingers at a young age. When you're older, you can kind of get away with it now and again. I've broken up curvy fingers and all sorts. So I find that they restrict my hands sometimes. But I think I like break them in. I don't wear finger saves unless I've actually broken my finger. So if these two are the two recent breaks. Broke them last season. So all I've done then was stick these two finger saves in, and then kept.
That's a great tip. That's what I actually say to our students as well. You know, and we always try to say to them as well, Reece, is to train with non-finger save goalkeeping gloves, because the mind's a funny thing. And what happens is, I think if you wear finger saves all the time, it doesn't give it a chance for your fingers to develop, especially as a youth there. So we always say, look, we're non-finger saving training, so you get a chance to strengthen your fingers. Because sometimes, it sounds crazy, these. Sometimes you need to bend your finger back and hurt your finger to go, right, okay, don't want that to happen again. I better concentrate. And you're just obviously programming your mind to obviously make sure that you catch the ball up with a better technique. So it's interesting that you said exactly what we advise our students, that, if you especially coming back from an injury, you wear your finger saves, but just wear them with what we actually say as well. Let's say that you broke, this finger. We say put the finger save in this one and either side if you can. So you have to support either side as well. So no, it's interesting that you said that.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's one for you, right? What is the most embarrassing thing that has happened to you as a goalkeeper? Okay, and how did you cope? How did you obviously bounce back from that?
Oh God, I've got. So my most embarrassing one, probably when I was about 9, 10 years old. We were playing against Coventry. I was playing for Cardiff City. We were playing against Coventry, and I used to suffer from really bad concentration.
Okay.
And my dad ended up. So they were on the attack, and my dad's turned round, and I'm stuck in the goal with my hands wrapped around the net, my feet wrapped around the net, and I'm just stuck there like this.
Brilliant.
And they ball past me, and they've had to cut me out of the net because I was much. And they've just scored and celebrated in front of me, and I'm just stuck, arms out, legs out, just stuck in the net.
Brilliant.
My dad's just there, just holding his head. And
what motivational quote did your dad give you for that one, then, mate?
Don't put your hands in the net.
If you want to be a fisherman, do that, but you're a goalkeeper. That's brilliant, mate. Fantastic. Well, here's another one then. What's the most funniest thing that has ever happened to you as a goalkeeper, whether it's with your teammates, but something that is like, whether it's in a game, whether it's training, and just like make you, your belly laugh. What's the funniest thing that you've happened? It might be happened to you, or it might have happened to one of your teammates. What's the funniest thing?
We played in a you got your county teams, your school area, your district teams.
Yes.
So I was playing for Cardiff and Vale, and we had to go and play against Weymouth, I think it was, in a tournament. I got injured just in the second half. I think I'd done my wrist or something, so I had to come off and the other goalkeeper go in. But then one of our outfield players got injured, so I had to go on his outfield.
Wow.
Left wing. All of a sudden, we got a free kick on the halfway line, a minute left to go. We're losing 1-0. They've pinged the ball in. I've gone to do an overhead kick. As I've connected with it, it spun off my foot, landed to our player, and we scored. And everyone's just jumped on top of me.
Yeah. So you said, as a goalkeeper, you can say, "Look, that was a pass."
Yeah. I'm not glory.
But it's funny, isn't it, though, as well? It's like a lot of the clubs that I played for, the management would actually ban the play. I'm going back years ago now. Obviously, now it's different with the goalkeepers, because obviously goalkeepers are basically just defenders with hands now, aren't they? But when we played, it wasn't like that. I actually remember playing for one football club, and I threw the ball out to my right winger, right to the dugout, and the manager come running out. I won't mention the manager's name, running out, and I was expecting him to say, "Well done, Ray." And he basically said, "If you throw the ball out again, I'll substitute you." And we were actually playing Preston North End in one of the cup games. he said, roll Z. So when I played as goalkeepers, we were just taught to boot it as far as we could up the field, because what the mindset was, a lot of the managers back then was, well, if the ball is in the other half, they're not going to score, you know. And obviously, so the game's changed a lot since I played. But yeah, as I say, it's like that's what I was told. But us goalkeepers, we weren't allowed to play out, because as I say, we used to unintentionally used to tackle our own teammates round the head because we just weren't used to it. Like, obviously, like you guys now are so comfortable with the ball at your feet. Back then when we played, most clubs banned goalkeepers from playing out. Obviously, because they didn't want all their players getting injured. I love this. Someone put this question in. Are you superstitious before a game, and have you a routine?
Yes. I have a very strange routine. I've told many people my routine, and they just keep calling me a psychopath. So I have to put on my left boot first.
Okay.
Then put my right boot on. Same with my gloves. So I'll do my right glove, my left glove, and then my right glove. And then I'm not religious or anything, but what I'll do is I'll go up to the goal post. I'll stick my head on the right post for about 6-7 seconds.
Okay.
Punch it. I punch the bar and I punch the other post, and then I'm ready.
Okay, cool.
It's really strange, and people look at me like, "What is he doing?"
Yeah, do you mean? Well, on my life, Reece, when I played, I used to put my left boot on first, then my right, my left glove on, and then my right. How weird is that? But I wasn't that weird that I went and punched the goal. So okay, so I was only half as weird as you.
Yeah, we had a goal last year at Kettering. He was on loan from Wolves, Jackson Smith, and before every game he'd kick the crossbar. He was really flexible and stuff like that, but everyone would look over just before the game. Everyone's looking at Jackson like, right, ready. Just jumps up, kicks the crossbar. And I'm like,
that's impressive, that.
And I'm out for about 6 weeks.
He's gonna do that one day and rip his hamstring. So hopefully he stretches off before
he's doing a lot of stretching and stuff before. He's
that is impressive.
I was like, okay, what? I thought good, but kicking the crossbar. Yeah.
So impressive, that. This is going to really help the younger kids, please, Reece. So when you hear negative comments from the supporters, I mean, you know yourself, even as a goalkeeper, I'm talking like even your home supporters. Sometimes as a goalkeeper, you can be playing a good game, and for whatever reason that a supporter, doesn't take a liking to yourself. And for the most part, they've no idea what they're talking about when it comes to goalkeeping, and they just shout a load of nonsense. So how do you deal with negative comments, especially when it comes from your own supporters? What's your coping mechanism for that?
I always say that there's no loyalty when it comes to football fans. I found this out a few weeks ago as well. I never used to believe it, but recent weeks I have. When I was at Kettering and stuff like that, everyone loved me. Everyone spoke to me. Everyone spoke really highly. And then as soon as I signed for Boston, everyone was like, "Oh, he's rubbish anyway. He's crap." Cost us all these goals and stuff. And I was like, okay, no worries. I kind of just ignore it. You gotta learn to block out the crowd.
Yes.
They're speaking highly of you. Yeah, fair enough. Like, I do talk to the fans and stuff now and again. If there's people behind my goal, let's say there's an injury, I'll go over to my goal to have a drink and I'll talk to some of the fans. But if that game's on, then you just block everything else. If having noise cancelling headphones and you can only hear the pitch, that's all you want to be able to listen to.
That's a great plan.
But
a lot of young goalkeepers, Reece, don't they? They listen to every word and they take it. And not even young goalkeepers, older goalkeepers as well. And they listen to every word, whether it's from the away supporters, the home supporters, and they allow that, unfortunately, to affect them while they're playing, which is a massive mistake, isn't it?
Yeah, big time. Because I feel like you start thinking too much then about what they're saying and not on the game.
Yes.
And as soon as that happens, then something's going to happen, and you'll make a mistake and you're not concentrating on the game. But you've just got to block out the crowds, even home stuff. Even if they're saying nice things about you now and again, you've just got to block out and just stay 100% on the game.
That's a great tip, because also, again, I've heard different sorts of statistics on this over the years, recently. What some, like, I don't know if psychologist is the right word, but what they say is that when you're, like you say, you blank everything out and you're focusing on the game, if you allow something to break your concentration and you turn around and look on average, it takes a goalkeeper anyway, like 3 to 4, 5 minutes. Again, they've had different time frames to get refocused back into the game.
Yeah.
And then within that, like even though it might only be 2 or 3 minutes, Reece, if you're not fully focused on that game, just because you've allowed someone to take that concentration away, by the time you've refocused on like you said, get back in that zone, you could have conceded because you're less more likely to make a mistake if you're not focused and not concentrating. So that's an amazing tip, that just literally just blank everything out and focus on the game. So this one here, mate, we're going to do a quick fire round here. So we're going to just speed it up a bit. So you're not going to have much time to think about this, okay?
Okay.
So I'm just going to fire them off. It's going to be 10 questions, mostly about yourself. Just fire them out, okay? So you ready for this? So the quick fire round. Have you ever scored a goal?
Yes.
Cool. Have you ever been sent off?
No.
Okay. How many yellow cards have you received over your career?
Less than 10.
Okay, cool. What was the most clean sheet you've kept in one season?
16.
Cool. How many penalty saves have you made as a goalkeeper?
Lost count.
Hey, well, what's your penalty save rate? 40%, 80%, for example?
I'd probably say about 70%.
Cool.
Quite high.
Okay. What's the biggest attendance you've played in front of?
About 20,000.
Brilliant. What's the most goals you've conceded in one game?
14.
14. Oh, cool. And you're still in goal. Love it. What's the best stadium you've played in?
Stadium.
Sorry, the best football ground. Sorry.
Probably the Ibrox.
Okay, wow, well, impressive. And finally, what's the nickname of Boston? What's the nickname of Boston United?
The Pilgrims.
Okay, cool. Right, so I just thought to just mix that up a bit. So we've coming to the end of this now. We've got like another 5-10 minutes. But I just like the next couple of sections, if you can just give some advice for the next generation of goalkeepers, if that's okay, please, Reece. So again, who do you think is the best goalkeeper in the world at present? And you're allowed to say yourself, okay, not wrong with that. And why would you? Sorry, just turn that alarm off. And why would you say that they're the best goalkeeper?
I'd probably go with Manuel Neuer. I know it's kind of a basic one because he's been doing it, but I think the reason why is because of that reason. He's been doing it for so long. He's been best goalkeepers for the last God knows how long.
And he makes it look so easy as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's just so calm and composed. Like even when he's making top corner saves, he's really easy.
And that's something, as I say, if every goalkeeper can strive towards that, and as I say, and you hit the nail on the head there as well. It's just everything just like so composed. And as a goalkeeper, I've got a name drop now. I forgot exactly what you used to say, but I had the pleasure of training alongside Neville Southall for 2 years while I was at Everton, and I forgot his exact words, so I do apologise, Nev. And when I used to see us young ones getting all excited, they go, "Hey, calm down. You can't play in goal when you're tense." Yeah. And that's something that always used to stick on my head. And obviously, I can't pronounce that. Manuel, I'm terribly tongue-tied. How do you pronounce his name?
Manuel Neuer, I think.
I'm terribly tongue-tied, and he does that perfectly, doesn't he? Perfect. Sorry. If you had to, also next question. Sorry, Reece. If you had to pick 3 skills or attributes a modern day, for a young goalkeeper listening to this podcast now, what 3 skills do you think is so important, or attributes that a goalkeeper needs to achieve their dreams?
I think dedication is a massive part. If you don't have dedication, you're not going to push yourself to get to the level where you want to play at or can be at. A lot of people don't think they can get to the level, but all they need is a dedication and motivation, and they'll fly through it. Dedication, I'd say. I think motivation is part of that one as well. You've got to keep yourself motivated. I mean, it sounds bad, but when you're a young footballer and you go to like an academy or something, I didn't really have much of a not much of a childhood, but I put my life into football. I remember going to like some of my old school friends and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, you never really came out when you were younger," and I was like, "Well, yeah, but look at me now."
100%, 100%. I agree. You've got to make sacrifices to chase your dreams. It doesn't matter what you're chasing.
Yeah, exactly. I think bravery is another good part as well. You've got to be massively brave to be a goalkeeper. You've got to think about it. You're the last line of defence. If you make a mistake, it's a goal. Whereas if a striker makes a mistake, you got midfield, defence, and then a goalkeeper. You've got to be brave to play in that position just because it's lonely. You've got no one there with you. You've got people smashing balls from God knows distance at however many miles an hour, and you've just got to put your entire body in the way. I've broken my nose 7 times from it. So
you just said something there really important, Reece, and a lot of goalkeepers and parents of goalkeepers, they think when you say you've got to be brave as a goalkeeper, that means diving at the centre forward's feet, which obviously that is obviously being brave to do that. But for me, I think what is like really difficult for a goalkeeper to do, and it is bravery, is that when you've got someone, you know, one-on-one with yourself, or the ball comes across your area and they're 3-4 yards out, and they're smashing that ball with no one in front of you, and you've got to stand big.
Yeah, exactly.
So honestly, that's like, you know, so difficult to do. And obviously, the older you get, it becomes instinctive. But so what you've mentioned there is like, again, I just wanted to sort of highlight that, because you made it sound like super easy and supernatural, because obviously it's something that you do without thinking now. But it's something that young goalkeepers have got to master, and it takes time. And a lot of young goalkeepers, when they first start off, Reece, you know, they'll turn the back and, or they'll, you know, and you know yourself, you've only got to turn your head half an inch, take your eye off the ball, and that could cost a goal.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Being brave as a goalkeeper is when they blast the ball, is that you just got to like literally, let's say not move. Obviously, you've got to move for the shot. But you've got to be, obviously, like you said, hold your ground. And a lot of young goalkeepers think that they're weak because they turn their heads, etc. When we first started off, I'm guessing we would have turned our heads, but like anything in life, you just practice, don't you? And the more you practice, obviously, the better you become.
Dad had a good saying again. He said, "What's more painful, 10 seconds of a ball hitting you, or a week of losing a football match?"
Yeah.
Get hit by the ball, 10, 15 seconds, the pain's gone. Yeah. But if that match, you're going to be thinking about that match until the very next one. Whether it's a day, it's gonna that pain of losing is going to be longer. He said, so I'd much rather get the 10 seconds of pain and stop the goal, and all my friends be buzzing with me and win the game for them, than people like, oh, you turned your back, you backed out of it, game and stuff like that.
Well, we're going to have to get your dad on this podcast. He's got some amazing sayings, honestly, amazing sayings. We'll get on if he fancies it. We'll definitely get him on, because what you've briefly said, what your dad as how he's mentored you. Honestly, he'll have some fantastic tips for the kids that we help. So I will 1,000,000% reach out to yourself to see if your dad fancies coming on.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 22 now. I haven't lived at home since 2017, and he still calls me every day with training. I mean, I've just come back from a bad injury and stuff, and he was calling me every day like, "Oh, what's your what training you like that? You should that." But like, I've got a little. I work in a gym as well, like helping out now and again. So what I do is I've got a little like friendship group in there, and we all train together, and they actually really helped me through my rehab stage for my ankle.
Okay.
I've jumped up for a cross, and as I've landed, my ankle's done a 180.
But not nice. Being there myself, not nice. Horrible feeling.
Yeah, it's horrible, but I feel like as well, a lot of like if there's kids and stuff like in this, like listening to this now, if you get injured, the worst thing to do is to just sob about it. And I used to when I was younger. I mean, when I done my ACL, I sobbed like a baby for flipping ages, until my dad like took the crutches away and was like, right, you can walk now. And I was like, no, I can't walk. And he was like, I can. And then literally, I think a day later, I was walking on it fine.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I say it sounds like you've got an amazing mentor. It is a good one as well. Again, these questions should have said, by the way, Reece, these questions have actually got from like the students, one of them says, do you get nervous before a game? Because obviously most kids and even adults get nervous before a game. So how, you know, because I always try to explain to the youngsters, because a lot of young goalkeepers think that because they're scared or nervous before a game, Reece, they think that they're weak. And I say, no, it's only natural to be nervous and scared. You just got to control it. So do you still get nervous before a game? And if yes, how do you obviously control that to make sure that you can turn it into advantage and use it as obviously leverage rather than hold you back like it sadly does with most people?
Yeah, so I do get nervous 100%. I get nervous training sometimes and stuff as well. Like in a goalkeeper warm-up, I'll be looking at the other team and I'm thinking, oh, like, God, he looks good. And like, oh, this goalkeeper looks good and stuff like that. Yeah. But what I do is I normally go in about 15 minutes before kickoff, get myself ready. And what I'll do is I'll stick my headphones in and I listen to a certain song before every game, and it's Eminem, Lose Yourself.
Okay, wow, okay, yeah.
I always listen to that song before a game. And then what I'll do is that kind of relaxes me. So I'll tense, I'll be thinking about the game and stuff like that. And then when I need to relax, I'll stick my headphones in, I'll listen to that song. And that kind of gets me in the zone then for the game. I'm not stressing too much. You get a little bit nervous when you go in the tunnel and you're looking at the other team next to you and stuff like that. And you're thinking like, oh, I hope, like, hopefully you don't score and hopefully you don't score and hopefully I can save your shots and stuff. But yeah, you do get nervous, but then as soon as that whistle goes, you're just in the zone.
Yes.
You need to be. And it's kind of a...
Can I just stop you again there, sorry, please, Reece, because again, the really important point that I want to make sure that the young and the old goalkeepers take on board. So again, so what Reece was saying there, guys, is that, you know, if you can try and find some music that motivates you and calms you, and before the game, get into a habit of listening to something that motivates yourself, because I think that again, that's a fabulous tip. And again, you see it with the Premiership players, don't you? Now they're all walking in their own little world. So even when off the coach, they're not sort of listening to all the hustle and bustle. They're not getting distracted and by everything what's going on. So I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just thought it was an amazing tip to give to the kids, Reece.
Yeah, I've always listened to music. I'm an old schooler. I love my old school music and stuff like that. And there's a lot of players in the change room and they'll listen to their grime music and their like 2022 music. My music's from like the 90s and 2000s and stuff. I'm old school.
Yeah, it's good. Hey,
that's my mum through and through. She's pushed me onto that and stuff like that.
Brilliant. Better than all the nonsense that's out there now anyway, mate, dear me. But we've got one last question from the students. Says, how do you determine, so when you're getting a penalty against yourself, Reece, how do you determine which way to dive? Do you watch the body language of the penalty taker? How do you know instinctively which way? Do you wait for the penalty taker to kick the ball and react, or do you try and go and a bit of a guess, obviously by looking at the body language, etc.? How do you work out which way you're going to dive?
So before every penalty, I always try and psych out the person taking the penalty. I'll walk up to the penalty spot. I'll try talking to him. I'll try and get in his head. And you can normally tell by the people who are rattled because they'll react to you. If someone reacts, then you know they're just solid on where they're going to go. If they like ref, like moving back, or he walks up to you, or he picks the ball up, you know he's a bit rattled. So what I do then is, as I'm walking back to the line, I'm staring at his eyes.
Okay.
And look for if he looks at any of the corners.
Okay.
But what I do is I'll walk back and I'll look dead in his eyes. If he looks at any corners, I'm like, okay. But then I'll also check his body language. So if he's got more of an angled run, he's more than likely gonna go crossways. So if
he's a right footer, for example,
the right footer and his body angle is really wide, he's more than likely going to go across to his right side. Well, our goalkeeper's left. If he's more straight, he's more go to the left, because for him to be able to angle his foot to go, if he does do a straight run up and go that way, you just got to put your hands up. Okay, good penalty.
Brilliant. Yeah, I'm so glad you said that as well. Do you know, Reece? Because again, what we say to our young students, as we say, listen, especially when you're young, most penalty takers, because they've not obviously we say as they get older, obviously they can hit it obviously either way. But what you'll find, especially with the younger players, they, like you said, they're a right footer. They're not going to really have the ability to hit it to the goalkeeper's right. If that makes sense. It's more easier for them to hit it to the goalkeeper's left if they've got that right. I might have got that wrong now. But yeah, it was more or less the same advice that we tell our students. And then is there any times where that you are you've sort of like you've looked at the penalty taker's eyes. They've looked to the left, and is there something that made you just go no to the right and you say it? Okay,
Yeah.
and what was that?
It's normally if they stood over the ball and they look at the one corner, and then I walk back to my line looking at them, and then they change their body position. That's them. Right, I've got you.
Okay.
I quite, because I talk to the striker and stuff now and again, like when they're about to take the penalty, I'm like, oh, I know where you're going, and he'll in his head then he's thinking, oh, what if he does know where I'm going? Oh, I'm gonna have to change it here, and then if step, then I've got him. I know he's going inside.
So that's a great tip for young and old goalkeepers as well. Is that if you can, just as they're about to take the penalty kick, say something on the lines of, I know where you're going.
Yeah.
Not just like, and again, for most centre forwards, there's only the minority of centre forwards or penalty takers, that won't affect. The majority of penalty takers, if you say something to them, that will affect them, because it takes a certain character not to, obviously not to react, if that makes sense. So that's a fantastic tip. So before we finish off with a couple of questions, I've got an impossible goalkeeping fact here for you. So this is courtesy of a website. It's really good. It's called goalkeepersAreDifferent.com. It's a quality site for goalkeepers, and it's if you get this question, so I ask an impossible question to see if you can get this. Okay. So I got this obviously off this website. So basically it says, which goalkeeper holds the record for the longest period in international football without conceding a goal? And it was for 1,142 minutes.
1,142 minutes without conceding a goal.
Yeah, at international level. I'll give you the clue. It's a European.
I'm going to go with.
Sorry?
Buffon?
Buffon, nearly. Go on, give you another guess. What nationality is Buffon?
Italian.
Right, you got the right nationality.
Is it Donnarumma?
No, it begins with a D. It might be a bit before. It definitely will be before your time.
Be before that then. Oh God, I don't know now. Even Buffon's a bit old for me.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah, he's in his 40s. It's Dino Zoff.
Ah, okay.
Again, just an impossible goalkeeper. If you'd got that question, you'd have been the biggest goalkeeping anorak that I've ever met anyway, Reece. So just two more questions, because I'm conscious of obviously time now. So the first one, if even though that obviously you're still only young, Reece, if you can invent a time machine and you could go back and advise your younger goalkeeping self, at what age would you go back to, and what advice would you give your younger goalkeeper self?
I'd go back to my Leicester days.
Okay.
2017, 18 and 19. When I was at Newport, I was in the gym every day and stuff like that. I was working hard. And then as soon as I got to Leicester, I kind of went into like a really bad mentality. I had a toxic relationship and stuff like that, and my mentality went straight down. So I kind of stopped doing the gym work, stopped putting in so much effort, and I kind of thought like, oh, I've made it now. Yeah. So I'd go back there and I'd be like, right, get rid of it.
You're only just starting. Yeah. But the great thing about it, you said you're 22 years of age, Reece, yeah? You're 22 years of age, yeah. You're still young enough to realise that these goalkeepers who will get to the end of their career, and I'll be honest with you, I was sort of probably one of those goalkeepers as well, not because I was arrogant or anything like that. There was sort of no one really to tell us, to be honest with you. We never had the sort of the help and education that you guys have got now, and obviously I keep going back to obviously your dad being a good mentor. So honestly, at your age, it's fantastic to know that now, rather than when you're 30 years of age, as I say, because you've obviously got all that time to put it right. So last question, I'm going to love you and leave you then, if that's okay, Reece.
Yes, fine.
What advice would you give young goalkeepers who are currently chasing their dreams to become a professional goalkeeper? What do you think they should be doing to obviously to get to your levels?
Don't stop.
Okay.
Just don't stop. You'll always get told that you'll never make it and stuff like that. They always bring out this statistic that less than 1% of footballers in the country make it as professional.
Yes.
But you work hard, you make it. I didn't think I was going to make it and stuff like that. I come from a little town in Cardiff where it's rough and stuff like that. No one really gets out of there. And then I made it out of there.
Yes.
Just don't stop, because if you keep working hard and stuff like that, you will eventually get somewhere. And the hard work does eventually pay off. Whether it's football, whether you go up. See, I went from kids football straight to scholarship and then professional, whereas some people might find it better to go from kids football to semi-pro to professional and stuff like that. So you'll always have a path to the right area. So all I say is, like, don't stop, and no matter what people say, ignore them, block them out, block out the haters, and just keep going with it. Just 100% keep going with it.
Amazing advice. I forgot the name of the famous American actor, because I'm into all my business books and self-development books, Reece, and I think it was Woody Allen, which again he's like an actor who's long gone now. He doesn't act, but he said, I think it was like 90% or 95%. And it was like a quite high number. Let's say it was 90%. He said 90% of success is just turning up every day.
Yeah.
Exactly what you said. Just don't stop.
Yeah.
So that's an amazing tip to finish on there, Reece. Honestly, I cannot thank you enough for obviously sharing your time, obviously to help, obviously myself, to help the young goalkeepers and the old goalkeepers. I keep forgetting the old goalkeepers. We won't forget you old goalkeepers, but also especially the parents as well. Again, I never got to see it, unfortunately, again, because this was like the first time I've used this sort of new technology. I couldn't see all the questions coming through from all, because this has gone live and all on our social media, on our YouTube channel, etc. So guys, if we didn't answer your questions as they were coming in, we do apologize. It's just that I just couldn't set it up, unfortunately, So, but Reece, I say I'm going to obviously love you and leave you now. Fingers crossed, once this ends, we can still have a quick chat if it's still about. And as I say, it just leaves me to say, honestly, 1,000 thanks, for what you've done. There should be more young goalkeepers like yourself, coming forward and helping the next generation of goalkeepers. Not enough do it. Honestly, not enough, unfortunately, do it. Not enough give back to the next generation. So honestly, on behalf of all the young generation and the older generation, I keep saying, and all the parents, Reece, that obviously who were trying to help their goalkeeping child, but obviously no idea what to do. Obviously, they never, as I say, obviously they wouldn't have had the experience that obviously your father did. But I know I'm waffling on a bit here, though, Reece. I just want to make it crystal clear. Cannot thank you enough on behalf of anyone and everyone who's been watching. I promise you would have had a massive impact on so many people.
Happy to help, mate. Really happy.
Okay. Pleasure. All the best. Take care now.
Bye, mate. Ciao.